If you're watching this video, you've probably been in a Jordan versus LeBron debate. Do you think Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time? Did someone tell you that he only played against plumbers or expansion teams? Oh, so you say LeBron is the king. Does someone refer to you as a Bronsexual or say that you're in the 3-6 mafia? Well, LeBron just got done with yet another All-Star game, and his Lakers are the #1 team in the West right now and could be on their way to a finals appearance, maybe even a ring. Last episode, I talked about awards, accolades, and ability. Today, we're talking about team success. Yeah, there's no I in team, but there are in win, rings, and championships. Of course, teammates and competition have a lot to do with greatness too. But in basketball, more than any other sport, one player can be the difference between good and great. Well, before we get to talking about greatness, we need to know what greatness is. For athletes to achieve greatness, one thing is key. They must succeed on the biggest stage. We want to see them perform at their best when the pressure is at its highest and the most is at stake. By now, we all know that Jordan went 6-0 in the finals. A lot of people would simply end the argument at that and think they won the debate. Yes, his Bulls teams were favorites in each final series because MJ was great, not because the competition was bad. His finals record is worthy of mentioning because all other great superstar lead dog players lost in the finals. Teams clearly didn't mix and match as much in Jordan's era. Free agency and trades weren't used to build super teams. But Jordan did have to play against Magic Johnson and the Lakers, Clyde Drexler and the Trailblazers, Barkley and the Suns, Gary Payton, Shawn Kemp and the Sonics, then Stockton, Malone, and the Jazz twice. Jordan and the Bulls only fell behind once in an NBA Final Series, when the Bulls were down 0-1 to the Lakers. They went on to win that series 4-1. They also never reached a Game 7. With the exception of Magic, who was older than Mike, all these guys were around MJ's age when they played. Age wasn't a factor. Even the teams that MJ and the Bulls had to play in the Eastern Conference playoffs were tough, like the Pacers and the Knicks. In the 1986 and 87 playoffs, the Bulls had to play an all-time great Celtics team. In only his second season, Michael Jordan scored a playoff record 63 points in Game 2 of the first round of the playoffs against the Celtics. He averaged about 43 points that series in which the Bulls were swept. Yet people will say that Jordan played against a bunch of plumbers. So if your response to him losing in the first round of the playoffs to the Celtics was that Jordan needed more help, well, why would he need more help with plumbers? So which is it? Those plumbers went on to win the 86 World Championship. Also, the Bad Boys Pistons are underappreciated. They won 2 rings and went to the finals 3 times in between the dynasties of Bird, Magic, and Jordan. But they were so concerned about Jordan that they made the Jordan rules, which still couldn't stop him individually. Jordan, like all superstars, needed teammates to step up. This led the Bulls organization to build a team around MJ, develop talent to complement him, not rely on him. So saying that LeBron is better because MJ's Bulls still made it to the playoffs after he retired while LeBron's Cavs and Heat teams sucked after he left is more about the organizations than the players. It doesn't mean LeBron is better, it means those Bulls teams had a GM who learned from their past mistakes. Sure, the Bulls were a more complete team, but it also means that the Cavs relied on LeBron to do too much. The Cavs should have learned from what happened with MJ and the Bulls in the late 80s. Last episode, I talked about how great of an all-around player MJ was based on his stats from the 88 and 89 seasons. Well, in 87-88, MJ averaged 35, 5, and 5, won the MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. This was Scottie Pippen's rookie year. He wasn't a starter this year. This was also the same year Jordan hit the shot against the Cavs. The emergence of Scottie Pippen. A lot of the MJ versus LeBron argument hinges on him. People like to say that Jordan went 1-9 in the playoffs without Pippen, but that could be, simply put, 1-9 without another star. Not to discredit Scottie. He is a top 50 player all time and an all-time all-world defender. Jordan needed Pippen, and Pippen definitely needed Jordan. Teams usually don't win with just one great player. Jordan and the Bulls operated just like every other great team in their era. You know, 1 or 2 Hall of Famers or another all-star, a bunch of role players and specialists. The starting 5 for Jordan's first repeat also included John Paxson and Bill Cartwright. Jordan didn't have stacked teams. His whole career he played with 1 All-Star, Scottie Pippen, and 2 Hall of Famers, Pippen and Dennis Rodman, who was there during the second repeat. His second repeat also included Ron Harper and Luke Longley. Tony Kukoc and Steve Kerr were noteworthy off of the bench, but we have elevated Steve Kerr to a demigod because he has the all-time highest three-point percentage. Steve Kerr averaged 8 points per game when he was with the Bulls. He took 1,600 threes his whole career. Steph had more makes than that in just 500 games. Again, the game is just different now. Steve Kerr coaches the Warriors now, which only makes them greater. LeBron never had a coach as great as Steve Kerr or Phil Jackson for that matter, But great coaches need great players, just like great players need great coaches. In the MJ versus LeBron debate, when competition comes up, it's like LeBron only played the Golden State Warriors in the finals. LeBron's greatness led him to 9 trips to the finals, playing the Golden State Warriors in 4 of them. In 2015, LeBron and the Cavs' first matchup with Golden State in the finals, sure, we shouldn't have expected the Cavs to beat the Golden State Warriors. They were underdogs, and 2 of their All-Stars were injured. But beating a super team or a team with more superstars and Hall of Famers than yours isn't unprecedented. Dirk did it. He did it in 2011 when the Mavs beat LeBron James and the Miami Heat in the finals. We'll talk about that Mavs team in a second. You know, let's take this all the way back to before LeBron played the Warriors in the finals. Actually, let's go back to before LeBron got into the league, to the 2004 Pistons, who beat Kobe, Shaq, and the Lakers in the finals. That Pistons team had less Hall of Famers and All-Stars than the Lakers at that time and were underdogs. In 2005, they went to the finals again and lost to the Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili-led Spurs in 7 games. That Pistons team made it to 6 straight Eastern Conference Finals. LeBron would have to get through them to make it to his first NBA Finals in 2007, but LeBron and the Cavs got swept by that Spurs team I just mentioned. LeBron was outplayed by Finals MVP Tony Parker. There are people who claim that we shouldn't count this loss to the Spurs because the Cavs weren't even supposed to be in the finals, and LeBron was so young. Why? Why are we dismissing that team? Is it because Larry Hughes, Z, and Drew Gooden? Okay. Well, beating the Pistons was hard for anybody, so LeBron and the Cavs accomplished that, so we shouldn't have expected LeBron to beat the Spurs too? Got it. It's not that LeBron, who was 22 at the time, was terrible, but he sure wasn't great. He averaged 22 points per game on 35% shooting, a year after Dwayne Wade averaged 35 against the Mavs in the 2006 finals. Wade was 24. Well, as I just mentioned a second ago, the 2011 finals was Dirk and the Mavs versus LeBron teaming up with Wade, Chris Bosh, and the Heat, a super team that went on to lose in 6 games. LeBron was outplayed and outscored by Finals MVP Dirk and by Jason Terry. That Mavs team also included Jason Kidd, who was past his prime, but yes, he's a Hall of Famer. Sean Marion, once an All-Star, and Tyson Chandler, future Defensive Player of the Year. LeBron got his first ring in 2012 when the Heat beat a young Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden in 5 games. Those teammates never met their full potential together. LeBron and the Heat lost to the Spurs in 2014, the same Spurs they beat in 7 games the year prior to get LeBron's second ring. People often complain about LeBron's lack of help, but he has played with more All-Stars and Hall of Famers than MJ did, especially at or near their primes. Again, LeBron had Kyrie and Love in Cleveland, plus Wade and Bosh in Miami. LeBron and the Cavs, a super team, made it to 4 straight finals, winning 1, losing the other 3 to the Golden State Warriors, a super team built by this era standards. LeBron and the Heat, a super team built by this era standards, went to 4 straight NBA Finals, winning 2 of them. People will argue over whether Bosh and Love are Hall of Famers, but if McHale, Parrish, Dumars, Rodman, and Worthy are Hall of Famers, then Bosh and Love will be also. And now LeBron plays with Anthony Davis on the Lakers with no current super teams in the league. I spoke a lot about the NBA Finals, but that's why they play the game, to win or have a chance to play for rings and banners. But it takes a lot to get to the finals, so if you're going to say that Jordan lost in the first round of the playoffs his first few years, then you need to say that LeBron's teams didn't even make the playoffs his first few years. Jordan never missed the playoffs, and LeBron never lost in the first round. If you're going to talk about LeBron being too young in 2007, then we should also say that MJ was inexperienced when he faced all-time great Celtics teams in 86 and 87. In 2011, the Heat hadn't gelled yet. LeBron was by himself in 2018 and had to face the greatest assemblage of talent basketball had ever seen. While those things can be legit, are there any concessions for Jordan's shortcomings? I mean, Jordan had just come back from retirement when they lost to the Orlando Magic in 95. If people want to bring up Jordan's failures with the Wizards, then go ahead. As a non-silent observer and an active participant in this debate, I just want some objectivity and consistency. When comparing 2 players that are so great that they're fairly evenly matched, even when you consider influence, stats, numbers, game, individual accomplishments, and team success, it comes down to tiebreakers. By the way, I know I didn't mention clutch. That's because there's no real definition for it. That and making your teammates better. Does that mean passing the ball more or winning? What this whole debate comes down to for me is this. You must succeed on the biggest stage. We want to see them perform at their best when the pressure is at its highest and the most is at stake. Jordan had bad moments and bad games in the playoffs and in the NBA Finals, but he was always the best player in each playoff series, which includes losses and, of course, his 6 Finals MVPs. LeBron has made it to the Finals 9 times, 8 straight. That will never happen again, and he should get a lot of credit and praise for that. And I will give it to LeBron, who has 3 Finals MVPs. He was the best player even in Finals losses to the 2005 and 2018 Golden State Warriors. LeBron was not great against the 2007 Spurs and the 2011 Mavs. In fact, he was outplayed by great players, sure, but not all-time greats. And that's the major difference between MJ and LeBron. Considering competition, his teammates, context, and precedents already set before these final series, LeBron should have had a better showing. That's inexcusable for the second greatest player ever. MJ is the greatest basketball player of all time. LeBron James is second. I guess if you're a fan of LeBron James, you feel like the king should wear the crown. But he's going to have to watch the throne from a distance. Michael Jordan is the GOAT, so we're going to be all right. But LeBron's not done playing basketball.